WWE is dealing with a lawsuit that accuses the company's creative department of pitching racist storylines. Let's talk about that in today's Wrestling Ramble. As you may be aware, a former writer for WWE is accusing the company and their creative department of pitching racist storylines. And I wanted to take this opportunity to do kind of a deep dive into what this lawsuit entails, what the pitches were, and go over everything. So here's the most recent news about how WWE needs to respond to the lawsuit this month. When it comes to a lawsuit filed against WWE accusing the company of racism, Ringside News wrote that Brittany Abrams, who is a former writer for WWE, took aim at the company in a scathing manner with a damning lawsuit. She filed a lawsuit following her termination for taking home a WrestleMania chair without permission. That lawsuit is not a good look for WWE, and there's a lot to unpack. While the initial reason for her firing was reportedly related to taking a WrestleMania event chair without permission, the lawsuit goes beyond that, encompassing various other allegations. Abrams' legal action against WWE dove into more than just the circumstances surrounding her termination. The lawsuit raises additional concerns and grievances that she has against the company. Several racist pitches received quite a spotlight. WWE was accused of racist creative pitches in that lawsuit. In fact, the company was called out for many racist practices and creative angles. Brittany Abrams might have filed this huge lawsuit, and a lot of information came out about the company's creative department. That being said, there hasn't been much momentum in that case. There's a new development in the ongoing lawsuit filed by Brittany Abrams against the company. Vince McMahon and former WWE executive Stephanie McMahon. Abrams alleges that WWE discriminated against her and retaliated when she spoke out against racist scripts. According to the latest update from PW Insider, court records from the United States District Court for the Eastern District of New York indicate that WWE must respond to the case by June 26th. Alright, so WWE has until roughly the end of the month to respond to this lawsuit. Now let's get into the meat of the matter. Let's get into some of the details regarding this lawsuit. It was reported at the end of April that WWE creative pitched a racist storyline angle for Aaliyah. The article reads, WWE is currently facing a lawsuit that calls the company out for racist practices and creative angles. Ex-WWE writer Brittany Abrams filed this huge lawsuit, and a lot of information is coming out about the company's creative department right now. One storyline that was pitched would really upset a lot of people had it gone down, but now we know all about it. This lawsuit also alleged that an idea was pitched for Shane Thorne to hunt down Reggie like an animal and put him in a cage. That idea never saw the light of day either, but it was detailed in the lawsuit. The lawsuit went on to allege that a racist and sexist storyline was pitched for Aaliyah and Mansoor. It was pitched that the two superstars would fall in love, but Angel Garza would try to break them up. The details of how they plan on presenting this were less than politically correct. Additionally, Heller shared a sexist pitch for a Muslim female wrestler wherein the said female wrestler lacked authority over her own mind and body. Again, Ms. Kayla Silvers and plaintiff Abrams created a love storyline between wrestlers Aaliyah, Mansoor, and Angel Garza. In this pitch, Aaliyah and Mansoor were meant to fall in love, while a jealous Angel tries to break them up. The pitch made Aaliyah appear intelligent and confident in herself and desires, containing Aaliyah speaking up for herself against both Angel and Mansoor, and having her love and affection earned. Ms. Silvers and plaintiff pitched this storyline to Heller, who expressed confusion about Aaliyah and her choices, particularly her never wanting to be with Angel, who is the obvious villain in the story. Heller was also confused that Aaliyah wasn't crying on the stairs after her breakup with Mansoor. Heller then counterpitched that plaintiff make the storyline a love triangle, objectifying and bimbifying Aaliyah. Heller's sexist counterpitch included Angel being forward and aggressive in his efforts to date Aaliyah, Aaliyah being easily swayed by Angel's evil tactics, and Aaliyah being confused about which guy she should date, oscillating between the two men until the end of the storyline. Heller and Ryan Callahan made these discriminatory comments while plaintiff and other female black African-American employees were in his presence in the writer's room. Heller's and Callahan's comments and conduct were clearly discriminatory. Plaintiff immediately complained about these racially discriminatory comments. Plaintiff spoke up and asked, "Doesn't that take away Aaliyah's agency?" Plaintiff told Heller that she wanted to make a pitch that was more feminist, especially because Aaliyah's character is already marketed as being super hot. Plaintiff, along with a number of her co-workers, including Ms. Silvers and Mr. Chad Barbash, also complained about the discriminatory nature of their lead writer's comments. Rather, in response to plaintiff's protective conduct, defendants intensified their campaign of retaliatory adverse employment actions. And then there was the other mentioned pitch pitched storyline. Ringside News writes that one disturbing creative pitch within WWE involved Reggie, who now wrestles under the name Scripps in NXT. Shane Thorne, who was released by WWE in November 2021, was also involved. According to this new lawsuit, Ryan Callahan, who is WWE's vice president, Friday Night SmackDown, and was lead writer of SmackDown at the time, pitched a very offensive idea. Callahan allegedly pitched that Shane Thorne take on a gimmick of a people hunter, much like the crocodile hunter, but only with humans. The most disturbing part of this pitch is that Ryan Callahan allegedly wanted Reggie to play the part of Shane Thorne's prey. This would have possibly even seen Reggie in a cage at one point, which would not have been a good look at all. In a nutshell, the said hunting gimmick pitch for new wrestler Shane Thorne and Reggie was, since Shane is Australian, we should make him a crocodile hunter, and instead of crocodiles, he hunts people. Subsequently, a storyline was pitched by Callahan where Shane would capture Reggie and constantly beat him up, but Reggie would always escape after being captured. Holding Reggie captive in cages was also discussed. Plaintiff Abrams found Callahan's pitch highly offensive and objectionable. Plaintiff again objected to her superior's racially motivated misconduct, specifically stating that a gimmick where a white man hunting a black African-American man for sport is racist. Callahan laughed and sarcastically responded, "Oh, is that a bad thing?" Callahan's comments and conduct had the purpose and effect of humiliating and intimidating Plaintiff, and dramatically altered her work environment for the worse. As the WWE writing team's sole person of color, Plaintiff was devastated that none of her white Caucasian co-workers stepped in to complain about the discriminatory and offensive pitch. Afterwards, Plaintiff spoke with Mr. Brian Paris, a white Caucasian WWE writer, who revealed that he agreed with Plaintiff that the pitch was racist, but he felt too nervous to speak up about it in front of Callahan. However, despite Plaintiff's complaint, defendants refused to address the complaint and instead continued the discriminatory and retaliatory campaign unabated. The lawsuit also outlined a very specific instance of a pitch that Ryan Callahan allegedly made. This would have involved having Reggie wear a wig and tights to become Carmella's tag team partner in a match against another female team. By way of example, it was discussed in the WWE Writers Slack channel before a show that a new wrestler, Reggie, would dress in drag complete with wig and tights so he could partner with Carmella, a female wrestler, in a tag team match against other female wrestlers. Reggie is a dark-skinned African-American black straight male wrestler. Given this pitch was shared via the Slack app, defendants Mr. McMahon, Vince McMahon, and Ms. McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, as well as other WWE higher-ups including Mr. Pritchard, Bruce Pritchard, and Mr. Ed Koski were included on the thread. Plaintiff's co-worker, Miss Andrea Lissenberger, responded to the thread, observing that putting a straight black man in drag might perpetuate harmful stereotypes that would offend viewers. WWE eventually scrapped the discriminatory pitch, but only in response to a white Caucasian individual's protected conduct in the form of Miss Lissenberger's complaint. And then we had another article towards the end of April as well. This one says, former WWE writer Dave Schilling recently discussed the news that the company is being sued by a former writer for discriminatory treatment, harassment, hostile work environment, wrongful termination, unlawful retaliation against the plaintiff due to a race, color, and gender. During an interview with Jeremy Lambert and Joel Pearl, Schilling commented that he was not surprised by the lawsuit, especially given that WWE is not the best place to work if you're a person of color, a woman, or LGBTQ. According to Schilling, this is because many people working at WWE are older and may not be as sensitive to certain issues, and the person who makes the decision is Vince McMahon, who isn't the world's most sensitive person. My thoughts were probably similar to a lot of people who are people of color who work for WWE, which is not terribly surprising that someone would be upset about things they experienced at the company. It's not the best place to work if you're a person of color, you're a woman, you're LGBTQ. It's difficult because there are a lot of people there who are older, who are maybe not as sensitive to certain things, and at the end of the day, the person who makes the decisions is Vince McMahon. Even today, Vince has a lot of power and a lot of say-so in what goes on the air, and Vince isn't the world's most sensitive person. Schilling went on to explain that many of the characters and storylines in WWE are based on what Vince McMahon likes. He stated that there are many examples of stereotypical characters in WWE's history, and that this is not a new phenomenon. It's all about what Vince likes. A lot of these broad caricatures are things that Vince likes. I can't speak to what happened after I left, but I'm sure he thought that Apollo Crews doing an accent was going to get over. You look at the history of WWE, and there are tons of examples of stereotypical characters. This is not a new thing or a new phenomenon. When asked about what could be done to change the environment at WWE, Schilling suggested that many of the people who make decisions at the company need to retire. He argued that there needs to be more youthful energy in wrestling and that WWE needs to surround itself with younger people who can say what is cool and what is not. Schilling praised AEW for presenting its characters in a way that is more appealing to younger audiences, and he argued that WWE needs to do the same. He also suggested that AEW President Tony Khan, the booker of AEW, needs to surround himself with a team of writers who can provide youthful energy and help him to understand what is cool. A lot of people have to retire. I don't know if we need to continue to hear what Michael Hayes has to say about storylines. I think he can put together an amazing match, but do I need to hear Michael Hayes or Vince McMahon or Bruce Pritchard tell people in their 30s, 20s, children what is entertaining? This is no knock on them. They've all done amazing things in the wrestling business and given me decades of enjoyment. They were all very nice to me. There needs to be more youthful energy in wrestling. AEW has done a good job of presenting their characters in a way that is more appealing to younger audiences. WWE, in a lot of ways, Roman Reigns and the Bloodline are very modern characters and exciting and cool, and even though they are heels, they are thought of as cool. The people making the decisions are old, and at some point those people need to move aside. Tony Khan as a booker of AEW is doing a good job, but he's not surrounding himself with younger people. He's not surrounding himself with a team of writers who can say this is cool, this is not cool. Not to say Tony doesn't know what's cool, he's probably my age, and as checked in as I can be in my mid-30s, we need to have that youthful energy. That's what is so exciting about AEW and on some levels WWE, but there needs to be more. The more people of a certain age step aside, the better it will be for everyone, and there will be less of this kind of tension between the sensibilities of 2023 and the sensibilities of 1987. That's the hardest part of working there. Those guys don't get it sometimes, and you wish they did. So there's the latest on the lawsuit against WWE for racist creative pitches, and there's all the details of what was allegedly pitched. Be sure to let me know what you think of all of this. That's all I've got. I'll see y'all later.